Let me start by narrating a short story. On the shores of a riverbed lived a farmer named Rajan. Rajan was a very ambitious man. The land was small, but the dreams were big. Rajan had a very big vision of creating or growing the best quality mangoes the world could ever taste. So what did Rajan do? He went to the market and he bought the best quality seeds he could ever find and came back and sowed it in his land. And he waited patiently. After a few months, he saw some shoots, but the seeds just withered away. They just faded away. Dejected, but still determined, Rajan again went back to the market, and this time he bought the best quality seeds he could find in the world, and he came back again and sowed them back. But to his surprise, they withered away, they just faded away. This cycle went on for quite a few years. But what happened? He was not able to understand. He was left extremely confused. One day, as he was walking towards the end of his farm, he noticed something very strange. He noticed that at the corner of his land, there were beautiful, lush green trees full of ripe mangoes. Rajan was extremely baffled. How did this happen? As he started walking closer towards the farm, he realized that these were the same seeds that he had sown, and he had just thrown them in that corner of the land. That was a dump yard. And now they are in their full blossom. What had happened was the environment that was near that corner of the land was apt. The river bed that was flowing had the right moisture in the soil, which nourished. There were cute little earthworms in the soil, which made the soil fertile. And that actually helped the plants grow. Rajan realized his mistake. He realized that all these years, he was focusing on the potential of the seeds, but he had completely ignored the environment that is needed for the seeds to grow. So what does this story tell us, friends? This story tells us the importance of environment. More so, it tells us the importance of how withering environments can kill creativity, how withering environments can kill potential, seeds. We all learn from nature. So what does nature, this example, tell us, we, the software world? This example tells us how we can look at the withering environment in our IT industry. What does this withering environment look like in our software world? So let me give you another example of a withering environment. Before I begin, let me state very clearly that all the characters in this story are fictional, and any resemblance to a person, either dead or alive, is purely coincidental, maybe an act of God in his own sarcastic sense of humor. So, location client side, enter customer. The problem that we are facing today, says the customer, is we are having all the physical files located in different places, and we are not able to respond or collate these responses together in order to give a proper response to an application. The BA responds saying, oh, I understand your problem. Let me see how can I help you. Immediately, very efficiently and diligently, the business analyst writes a mail to the on-site project manager saying, need to have a conversation with the solution architect in order to solve a problem of informed decision making. The on-site project manager very efficiently and diligently, immediately writes a mail to the offshore project manager stating, need a solution architect's time in order to solve a problem. Now you see, my dear friends, the context of informed decision-making solution has already been generalized to a problem. So in such an environment, when we are generalizing problems, a concept like tech talks will not flourish. The offshore project manager very diligently and efficiently writes a mail to the solution architect saying, need to identify a resource to look into the problem. So now, the context of informed decision making has been transformed into identifying a resource to look into the problem. So in such a context where we have disconnected context, in such an environment, a concept like Tech Talks will not flourish. On the day of the project review meeting, only 2 questions get asked. How much time more is needed and how much work is done? So when we have the questions around only time and we ignore the rest of the questions around how we can achieve informed decision making as a challenge, in such a context, Tech Talks will not flourish. On the day of the program review meeting, the question is, what is my gross margin? And do we need to de-scope the functionality? Do we need to increase or decrease the number of resources or change resources if the need be? If you have conversations only around the gross margins and the time and the scope of functionality, in such a context or in such a situation, you will not have ideas flourish and you will not have Tech Talks survive. Now comes the day of the KRA review setting day. The KRA item states that there are five queries, out of which if 3 queries are answered by the business, are taken back to the customer, and the customer responds, and that means it is a change in the requirement, that means a business analyst has made a mistake. A KRA system which measures the mistakes of people in such an environment, a concept like Tech Talks will not survive. Not only that, if the KRA system creates a divide between the designer, the business analyst, and more suicidal between the business analyst and the customer, in such an environment, definitely concepts like Tech Talks will not survive. So now you must be wondering that if she doesn't believe or she believes that a concept like Tech Talks will fade away, why is she standing in front of us, boring us and presenting one? I'm here in front of you, my dear friends, because I've experienced not only withering environments, but I have also experienced something which I called as blossoming environments. In withering environments, I rebel, I fight, and I completely succumb and surrender and withdraw. But the same Tazeen, when put in blossoming environments, takes up ownership, delivers, and gives her 100% in order to achieve results. This insight about myself made me answer a question, what is it about these blossoming environment that helps me grow? I identified there are 4 key factors which have helped me or helped create this blossoming environment. The first one is connection. When I say connection, connection is the state of being connected. Connected to the core of the problem. Had the solution architect or the key stakeholders been connected with the challenge of informed decision making, all the designers and the developers would have their activities around that problem solving. Once you have a connection, when you are really connected and engaged, and believe me, my friends, that's a choice we make. It's not something we have to do, it's a choice. But once you make that choice, you'll have a lot of questions in my mind or in your mind. And that's the next point which I'm talking about, which is curiosity. Once you have curiosity, when you have a lot of questions lurking in your mind, there has to be a safe space where all these questions have to be expressed without being judged. There has to be a safe space where I can express my point of view, where making mistakes is okay, where sounding stupid is okay, where looking stupid is definitely welcome. And when we have such safe environments, we will have ideas thrive. And only when we have ideas thrive, we will be able to connect or create solutions. Once you have ideas there are a lot of ideas, there has to be experimentation. And that's my next point about collaboration. I'm not talking about communication or having technical tools or high-end technical tools like video conference facilities or something else. No, I'm talking about collaboration where I can experiment with the idea, where I can try out new things. And once you have a collaboration in space, I'm talking about a collaboration not within few individuals in a project or a few key people within Mastek. Collaboration is a concept where I am empowered to take my quality question out in the world and get the best of the minds help me solve that problem. And it is very simple at the click of a button through blogs and forums. And once I'm empowered, the whole world is now contributing in order to help me solve that quality question. And that's the power of true collaboration. And that's the kind of space which needs to be created. The next is the communication. Once you have delved, you have toiled your, you have actually pulled up your sleeves and got into the problem, you will have a lot of emotions going through. You will face failures. Communication that I'm talking about is authentic expression of feelings. So can there be a space in our projects where I can express my failure? Can there be a space in my projects where I can express that I have made a mistake, or I can express that, oh, this is something which is wonderful which I have achieved? And that kind of communication where I'm expressing my true feelings will create a space for better connection. Normally it happens in projects, there's a lot of negative friction because we are working together as a team. So can there be a space of communication where I'm expressing those negative frictions and going beyond that and again coming back to connection? And that whole cycle starts again. So when we have all these factors in place, that is when we will have a blossoming environment. So how does this blossoming environment look like? According to me, any value system is identified by the conversations that we have. So when we have a blossoming environment, our conversations will change. A project manager will be focused around how to create informed decision making. That will be the real concern. That will be the feeling that they come from. A business analyst will worry about, is the problem just informed decision making, or is there some other problem that we are also trying to solve? The solution architect will have the primary question on their mind will be, what are the best solutions on informed decision making which have already been cracked, and can they be re-implemented, or it has to be invented here in our organization? A developer will talk about what data is needed and how does it look and feel. The program manager will talk about, can the informed decision be sold as a solution to the clients outside? So we are now talking about growth. And the HR manager or HR team will be talking about what support is needed by the team in order to create the solution, to connect, to collaborate, and communicate better. So my dear friends, when we have the KRA systems which focus on the building the environment and not judging and measuring people, then we will have ideas lurking in these conversations, or the ideas lurking in the corridors of an organization. And these ideas will bubble up, and then these ideas will come on this platform, and you will have people presenting confidently as a tech talk topic. Thank you very much.